Folks, welcome on in. Hope you are having an outstanding beginning of your weekend. And we know we are having a very happy hour here at Herbal IQ 6300 Transit Road, your number one spot for all your cannabis needs. And I've got your number one guy for all your Bills, Buffalo, Sabres, hockey, football takes, everything across the board, Mr. Sal Capaccio. Sal, how are we doing on this Friday afternoon?
I'm good. We're in a really cool space here, and I'm sitting in this booth, and I feel like we're kind of on a date, you and me. And I'm like, "What's up, buddy?" Put my arm around you.
If you want to get in interpersonal like that, I'd be more than happy to. But we also got to involve my guy Dreamboat. I mean, let's face it, we got to up the looks factor.
Very fitting for that. So yeah,
I'm
okay.
third wheeling for sure. No, my own booth over here.
I feel like I want to share a milkshake or something with you right now. Like
we can go Dutch treat for sure. But listen, one thing that has got us a little happy, and hopefully some others. We saw a report just now from local CBS affiliate, I believe in Florida, Sal, as we're looking. Obviously, the news on everyone's feeds right now is the car crash involving Tiger Woods in Florida, I believe it was. There seems to be info coming out, Jupiter, Florida. There was a report we saw that indicated people were okay, but we're still waiting to see official reports and everything. It just puts, the thing I put in the notes, Sal, when we were because we have a number of things to talk about. Hamlin, you got the Sabres tonight, everything like that. But it puts everything in perspective, of how important sports really are and how, like precious life is, everything like that, all of the above.
Yeah, for sure. Just trying to scroll through, and I got my friends texting me, "Oh my God, you hear about this? You see about this with Tiger Woods?" And no doubt, I mean, it's just having this conversation with my wife today. Like, we go through different things that we're all kind of dealing with in life, right? And and we look at each other sometimes and we go, yeah, but you know what? Like, there's a lot worse problems out there. If this is the worst thing that happens to us today, and then you see that and you're like, oh my God, you hope he's okay. And these are, real life issues. It's a rollover crash, and we know the Tiger's been involved, before in a car accident, which was a source of his injury last time, a major injury. We don't know the extent of what's happening. We're hoping that the reports coming out now that there were no serious injuries are correct, but you're right. It kind of puts a lot of things in perspective.
And Don, I mean, I don't want to, the internet runs off to the races with their opinions, their takes, and et cetera, and everything. I think, Sal, there were details of rollover being involved in the crash or something like that. So it speaks to maybe that there may have been some severity in the way the car was driving. You just hope that everyone's being safe in these situations going forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, things like this, time will tell what happened. I had a friend, a drummer, actually, Sal, you're a drummer, that was driving home late at night at a gig. He was just going 70 in a 65, not too fast. Checked his phone for 2 seconds, looked up, was in the median, and his car flipped over, miraculously unscathed. Nothing wrong with him, but he crawled out of his car upside down. The gear was a little trashed, but he was totally fine. So a flip over, sometimes it's just, where you are. If you're on a highway and there's a ditch, like anything like that. So we don't know if it's speed. We were just hoping, that everyone got out unscathed. I think you said a couple people went to the hospital. Someone refused to go to the hospital.
That was a report we read.
And the thing about this internet, and this is the only time, Sal, this happens every so often. You miss the day of the old check marks on Twitter.
Yes.
Because Trainwreck Sports is fortunate to have a check mark. Obviously, there's things like that. But back in the day when someone with a check mark said that, the accident was okay and it was verified, that did mean something. That carried some weight.
Do you guys, I don't know, I follow some of the Tiger Woods, like, Twitter accounts, the Twitters that follow him, like
tracking Tiger,
Tiger track and all that. One of them is TW Legion, Tiger Woods Legion. Update according to them a few minutes ago. According to a source they write at Martin County Fire Rescue, it was a 2-car crash. One vehicle was a rollover. One person is stable. Another refused to go to the hospital. According to Martin County Fire Rescue, there are no injuries to anyone, according to CBS 12 News, according to this particular tweet.
And then let's pull up the Legion account real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so 100,000 plus followers. In your experience, do you ever see 100,000 plus followers putting their news and reputation on the line that often with news like that? Not very often. So it's not confirmed. But again, we're hoping that report is verified. We're hoping that report is true. We're hoping that everyone is okay, obviously, in this situation. Friday afternoon, it really puts things in perspective.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny you bring that up about the followers and putting your reputation online. Like, I go and speak to a lot of people who want to get in the business or just kids in general. And I was at BOCES up in Niagara County this week, and I spoke to actually their not physical therapy. I apologize. like a training. They're going to school for training, sports training.
Okay.
And
sports fitness.
yeah, things like that.
Yep.
Anyway, the point is students, and there's some that want to get into sports and do different things, and some want to be in the media, whatever. And I use that as an example. I'm like, look, I mean, when you have a platform, you have a responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just tweet things for the sake of tweeting or say stupid things that come back to bite you. Maybe that's why some people think it's funny. I don't. I know people every day. I have friends that have been fired for tweeting stuff they shouldn't tweet.
Yeah.
And then if you put stuff out there that's not real or not right, your reputation's on the line, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, how much
believe
is
me.
that? You know that.
Yeah.
We've been through it.
We've got.
And sometimes you might even have a source you trust that you put something out.
Oh, I mean, I had a source, that had a C on his jersey, like
Yeah.
that's all I needed.
The red helmets was, yeah.
I will jump this officially, and I'm sorry if he holds it against me. Then he holds it against me. When Terrell Bernard told me that they weren't doing the red helmets, I took his word for it. I didn't decide to get another source. I'm like, the team captain knows, for sure. Our reputation. The next time we go with anything, people will be mentioning the red helmets for sure.
Okay, so that's a good. Back in the day, long time. Remember Donald Jones?
Yes.
Played wide receiver.
Yes. Oh, love Donald Jones.
So Donald and I did TV together.
Yes.
Right. We did Out of Bounds.
Okay.
We were co-hosts.
Classic programming.
It was great. And Donald was a free agent coming up one year. And he told me, yeah, we've had dialogue. We think we're trending towards maybe resigning. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And like, he told me this, right?
Yeah.
So I tweeted out, this is 10 years ago, maybe, whatever.
Yep.
And I'm like, source says, that Donald Jones and the Bills are working towards maybe a contract. They've had good dialogue, contract extension, however I phrased it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally later that day, the Bills said basically that we're going to let go. We're not going to re-sign Donald Jones, whatever. And I'm like, what is going on here? Well, good lesson from me. He really didn't know. The agent knew that was not the case, and I didn't get it from the agent. The agent's the one that knows, not the player, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I never
optimistic,
and I didn't check with the agent because I trusted that what he told me was right, but maybe just that's the way he perceived something that was told to him. I'm not really sure, and it was a good lesson for me too. 10 years ago.
Well, do you remember 4 years ago when we kind of got Shaq Lawsoned? It was a similar situation. It was exactly the situation you just outlined.
100%.
Where it was the player alone, and the player was like, "This is about to happen," and we were like, "Well, we'll never get a better source than like the player."
Right.
But I'm done with players.
The better source from the player is the agent.
100%.
The agent is the better source than the player.
I am done with players as sources. But folks, again, remember, if you're looking for the best cannabis products, the best cannabis brands, the only source you should be looking at is Herbal IQ. 30% off the entire store. We're at 6300 here at Transit Road. If you also, by the way, in the lovely Q Lounge here, Sal, we're hanging out in the Q Lounge, as they call it. If you want to book it for your event, you can book it for parties. You can book it for gatherings, especially this Buffalo hockey playoff run. Go to herbaliq.org for more details on that. We had some more details come out today, Sal. A couple people surprised. I want to go to Don first for his take on this one, because then I think you're going to come back with more reason, a lot more logic. Where did you land on the Damar Hamlin of it all, bringing him back to Buffalo?
Yeah,
for another year.
We talked about earlier on Trainwreck, a little bit of depth, a little bit of that, a little bit of, for me, I think this team loves bringing back veteran guys, kind of teach the younger guys in the locker room, kind of use them as a source. I think it's that, and it's locker room continuity. That's kind of been the biggest thing Brandon Beane's been about, is always, trying to keep the same guys, the same culture going around. So I was saying, I think this was kind of like a coach, player, mentor role with his experience, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
So any other year, I would have had the exact same opinion.
Yeah.
I was way more surprised this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is they've done such an overhaul on the defensive side.
Absolutely.
The natural reaction to me when something like this happens is, well, it makes sense. He knows the system. There's a new system.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know the system, right? So everything they've done, they had up until today when they re-signed Damar, I think they had 13 unrestricted free agents on defense. They are still out there, like, that they have not re-signed and brought back. All the guys that their contract expires, they're just not bringing back. This is an outlier.
Yeah.
Of all the players, Tre'Davious White, Daquan Jones, of all the players at Matt Milano, whatever it is, right, who are free agents, who would have landed on Damar Hamlin being a guy they would re-sign back first? Not me. I didn't think that. Now, that said, everything you said is also right, which is he's a
and
guy.
by the way, lovely shirt. This guy's
love
always
this.
stealing the show. Like you
I know.
almost just touched it. You almost just reached out and touched it. You
Take
can
a
kind of
touch.
I
like
love
It's a
it.
nice
that's
texture.
just what the vibes do here at the Q Lounge. All of a sudden, you're just feeling a little better with each other than you were before. Great vibes here at 6,300.
I will say though that from that standpoint, people think like Sal loves I get a lot of grief on Twitter about
People come firing
Damar.
at you, and you're also in charge of these decisions. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
other
right,
thing too.
that's
With
right.
a lot,
I know. Damar, Jamarcus Ingram, and Cam Lewis. Apparently, those are the three guys that I think
Yeah.
are all pros, which I don't.
Yeah.
But I think like what people have to understand is every team has players like this. If you
Yeah.
don't sign Damar, you're going to sign a player just like him. So why not a guy that you know his character, you know his reputation. And by the way, I don't know the details. I'm sure he's making pretty much the minimum salary.
Yeah, I was
You know
I was
what I
trying
mean?
to see the price because that also has to do with it, like you said.
Yeah.
Like obviously Milano, huge part of that defense. I don't know. You'd probably know more than me as being kind of an insider, but I don't know what the talks have been, if there's a bigger price there. But if that's kind of been being so far between Knox and Bass, like getting these guys back for a little bit.
The problem
cheaper
with
of a
Milano
price.
is they're already on the hook for $11 million, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if they bring him back, they got to pay that because the contract the way it was structured.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they brought him back for, let's say, $3 million a year, it's $14 million essentially for him. Now you don't have to look at it that way. You can say, well, it doesn't matter. They're paying $11 million whether they bring him or another guy in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
right.
counting $11 million. But I would have thought if because of that, they would have already kind of, made that move. However, that happened with who? Who did they bring back? And you have to count the dead money on him anyway. I can't think of it. Who was a voided contract? And then they brought him back. And I can't remember. It wasn't Dawson Knox.
Was it Hardman?
No, who was the guy? Who were we talking about at the Connor McGovern?
Oh,
McGovern,
yep.
McGovern.
So Connor
McGovern,
McGovern, he is already counting dead money, and that was part of the reason I didn't think they would resign him. But then they brought him back. You still have to count the dead money because it went past the time where you had to kind of account for that.
Sometimes when you just say a salary cap sentence out loud, I mean, it's not surprising that people say the salary cap isn't
Right.
real. Like he's getting the dead money, he's getting the live money.
Yeah.
Like so if the Bills were to pay Matt Milano $7 million this year, the $11 million they're paying him doesn't count for anything. They
They're
have
not
to pay a separate $7 million.
Yeah, that's right. They're not even paying the $11 million. They've already paid it to him.
Yes.
They're counting it on their cap.
Yeah.
No matter what. So yeah. And I don't know. And I don't think it just feels like that's a player that they've probably moved on from, but I don't know, to answer your question.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a spot where they still have to kind of look at.
Okay, so we've got Damar Hamlin back with the Bills. So there's a lot of buzz with, the defensive free agents, like you mentioned. By the way, also introducing again the latest addition to everything here at the Q Lounge, Q Coffee. Folks, where the buzz never ends. We are open Thursday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy a variety of coffee, mocktails, smoothies, and more. I've been in to visit Hannah a couple times, and let me just tell you, an exquisite atmosphere. It's all in one stop here at Herbal IQ. So big shout out to Q Coffee. I'll definitely be back to visit much more often. Cannot wait to check out the mocktails as well. But will these players be back?
Are you a coffee drinker?
I am a coffee drinker, but I use that enough of the milk and everything that my girlfriend calls it a morning dessert when I make it. So
I drink too much coffee.
Okay,
I drink coffee all day.
I can see you buzzing sometimes, and you're also moving. When I see you on the sideline at training camp, oh my God, we need the velocity, the velocity meter on you because
I check my
absolutely
steps.
hauling.
Oh man, it's incredible.
This is going to be shocking for people for how down tempo of a personality I've been told I have. I drink a ton of coffee, so much so I have a coffee bar at my house with an espresso maker and a French press, everything.
Wow.
And depending on my mood, sometimes we're going French press, sometimes I'm having a little espresso, sometimes got to make a double, some oat milk, little iced latte in the morning. I got my own coffee bar there.
That's my wife. She's all in it. We have an espresso maker. It's coffee, espresso, all that. I love that.
Yeah.
We're big coffee drinkers. I will drink a cup of coffee before I go to bed. Doesn't matter. I'll still sleep. I don't care. I drink coffee at any point of the day. But what I do the flavored creamers.
Oh yeah.
So French vanilla and hazelnut are pretty much.
Yeah, you need those. You need a little size. Coffee tastes not good. I mean, I think everybody agrees on
Dude,
that.
I have anxiety
looking
at your phone here with all the cracks on this thing. What is going on?
Do you want to get put over the edge? Do you want a cardiac attack?
I'm like,
bang.
I mean.
Sal, I go no shield.
I
go no shield in all the tailgate events.
This guy's phone.
He's got no case.
It's outstanding.
He's got no
I mean, What did you do? Run over it with your car?
It's
Like,
it's
put
like
it
a-
under the
it's
wheel,
like
under the tire?
It's like if Saving Private Ryan was
Oh
a
my
phone. Okay, but here we are at Herbal IQ, and we have a very special segment sale around these Buffalo former players.
Yeah.
It's stash or ash. Okay, so you're
I was
rolling, you're
laughing when you
down a
sent
little,
me
you're
that. I think
down a
it's-
little
I think
bit
it's
on your
great.
pre-roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you might get rid of it if there's only a little bit left, or you might ash it, or you might stash it for later. You might save it here at Herbal IQ. So. Let's talk some former names, Sal, if they could be stashed by the Buffalo football team after this period. So Matt Milano, we just mentioned. Do you think he could inevitably be back?
I mean, he's the kind of guy where I wouldn't be surprised if maybe if he doesn't sign with a team, that's a guy you bring back later because you like a Jordan Poyer. Like a Jordan Poyer. They did that. But I don't know if Matt's going to sign with another team. Like I haven't heard anything on that yet. And if he does, obviously that can't happen. But I don't think you're going to see him like at training camp, basically.
There's also a real new culture. I don't want to go off on a whole sidetrack, but like now players sign in July, August. The density of signings of players that actually end playing meaningful snaps a lot more than it used to be.
Yes,
traditionally it was like you had these guys April, May, latest maybe an early June signing after the June 1 stuff shuffles out. Now you'll get guys who will seemingly come along late July, even sometimes in August case. You have a Poyer last year, obviously, who ends up playing a super meaningful role for that Buffalo defense. So it's very surprising to see how that culture shifts. I'd love to see some numbers on that. And maybe some of these signings could fall into that. For Stash or Ash, what about Taylor Rapp?
I mean, they moved on from him.
Yeah,
so.
He's done.
Anyway, him and Curtis Samuel, they moved on from.
Yes.
They cut. They said, see you, right?
See you completely.
So they're not bringing them back.
Okay. This is a name that gets a lot of buzz. Shaq Thompson.
I don't see it unless you're late in the summer. They haven't addressed linebacker. They need a little more depth because I do think it's a spot they have to address. One of the reasons why is I think Shaq said something about him wanting to get paid.
He went on a minor IG rant, as the kids would say, and he was talking about stacking some cheese down. He wanted some serious pay after the season.
What are you paying Shaq Thompson, right? I mean, like, I don't know. I know he was good last year.
You're the insider. You're going to the owners meetings this week. Hasn't like the period for like any big signings or major interest kind of passed by now?
Pretty much. But what happens now is teams will kind of fill in the gaps before the draft so that they kind of don't have to, as I'll say, they don't have to force their hand. They can let the draft come to them, which you saw 3 signings today or yesterday, 4 with today. Damar Hamlin, Trent Sherfield, and 2 offensive linemen. And the reason you do that is let's not put ourselves in a position where we get to the draft and we're like, boy, we need an extra lineman. You kind of fill those cracks a little bit. So maybe a guy like Shaq Thompson fits in like that. I just think they want to do something different. Here's part of the reason. Here's part of the issue with a guy like Shaq Thompson. Think about this.
Yeah.
You bring a guy like that in, he's not coming in to be your 6th linebacker.
Yeah, he's not messing around. He wants
right,
to start,
right.
After he played last
can
year.
You have, speaking of Terrell Bernard, can you have Terrell Bernard looking over his shoulder at Shaq Thompson again?
Yeah.
I just don't know how that dynamic works right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough. That would be tough vibe for that defense. We want people to be comfortable. I have Jordan Poyer on this list. He can't possibly make his way back to Buffalo, can he? He was pretty important last year, though. That's the thing.
He was really important. They do need another safety, even after the Damar signing. I think that's more of a depth, special teams kind of guy. He
would be a strong August candidate. If you could bet on a guy to sign in August, like his odds would only be again, because this is a made up fantasy world, he would really only be like 12-1 to sign in like in August, which is a crazy situation.
When he signed last year, there were so many LOLs, right?
A lot of LOLs.
And then he was really good. He helped.
That swamp grass in Miami was slowing him down. That swamp grass in Miami was the only thing that was holding him back.
The signing kind of shocked me, kind of didn't, because again, we brought back Trey, but he didn't have really great seasons in Miami.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was one of the people saying, does this guy have any gas left in the tank? But he went out and proved me wrong, proved a lot of other people wrong.
100%.
Showed up big time for the team. So
massive.
I don't know. Out of a lot of the, like you said, if the Damar one was more shocking, then I could see him coming back. But like you said, probably not till post draft.
I mean, his age, I mean, his body. You got to be careful with that. I'll say this. I mean, he showed up last year and even said, like, I don't think I could play 17 games, but I'll be ready to go. And then all of a sudden he's thrown in the lineup whenever that came, and he did a good job. And Cole Bishop was a better player because of Jordan Poyer, which was a
100%.
big
There was a tangible difference
Yes.
once Jordan Poyer was inserted into the lineup, especially as far as run support. I felt like because a lot he can do in the West. I don't know. I know nothing. I know nothing there. But now we know who Sal would want to stash rush. Any other kind of like because now obviously I don't think there's going to be any splashes.
I think the one guy on this list
Yes,
that
yeah.
I
Am I
keep
missing
getting
one?
to is Tre'Davious White.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's back. I feel like he's never left.
Right, and the other part is, who's their third outside corner right now?
Has it been brought up to you that Trey White sorry, on this topic? He posted on his Instagram for the first time in almost 5 years the other day.
I did not know
You
this.
did not, you got to look into this. I want you to look into this after the show because and what was it? It was a Buffalo highlight reel. It was about people doubting him and how he came back to Buffalo and had a redemption run. See, I don't know sometimes when I see this stuff if I'm the only one that notices, but that's why I got to bring it up.
I was wondering if he was bringing the hockey school back with how well the Sabres have been doing.
Absolutely,
the goalie academy.
Oh, if Trey White's banging the drum for a night one Sabres game, that would be extreme.
So, a couple things on this. Number one, there are a few of my colleagues in the media who are very much on top of the IG stuff and following these guys. I don't know. When you tell me that, I'm like, I had no idea. I really don't. I'm much more on X, by the way.
When we set up these shows, I bring bombs. I don't know.
Honestly, it's just, dude, I'm going to be 53 next week. All right. I don't like,
you're a young guy.
It's not my jam. I have to because of my job.
Yeah.
But man, there's so much of this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy posted this on Instagram and this on Snapchat. I'm like, I don't know. Tell me about it because I'm not watching that. I am on Twitter a lot. I get it. That's kind of how I built my brand, and I have a lot of followers.
You're massive. I mean, and then, and just to put on an extrapolation, on the 6th degree of Kevin Bacon, that's what I think that's what puts you on the radar of a McAfee. And the next thing you know, you're on that show. Now, next thing you know, you're the recurring Bills guy and big picture guy from basically the Northeast on one of the biggest shows nationally.
Hey, listen, I appreciate that. I mean, I have close to 200,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah.
And if you add up all the social, it's I would say 250,000 social followers because that's kind of what you have to put out there. But the fact is though, I'm not monitoring Instagram and players and things that happen. So when you tell me that, I didn't know that. So during February break, we were on a cruise, not the Buffalo Legends cruise I'm doing. That's coming up in May. We were on a cruise. We went down to the Bahamas and we go to not Atlantis, and I can't think of the
Nassau.
No.
Oh, yeah.
We were in Nassau, yeah.
Yep.
Baha Mar. We go to Baha Mar, and I get there walking around. All of a sudden, I look. There's Terrence Gray, Bill's assistant GM.
Wow.
And I'm like, hey, Terrence. I started talking to him, and he says to me, he goes, "Did you see Tre'Davious and Motor?" I'm like, "No." He said they're here too. So Tre'Davious White was at Baha Mar and Devin Singletary the same week we were there. I did not see either of them, but I know that they got away for a little while, and I know that Tre'Davious White loves Buffalo, and he'd love to be back, I'm sure, in some capacity. I think the issue is, A, do the Bills want him back, and B, how much would you pay him?
Yeah.
He made $6 million up to $8 million last year. You can't do that this year.
Yeah.
You can't pay that for Tre'Davious White this year. But, guys, who's the third outside corner? They need one. They don't have one.
Yeah.
Unless you think MJ Devonshire or Daryl Porter Jr. could be the guy. And all they have right now is Benford and Hairston.
Yeah.
They don't have another third corner. I think Tre'Davious White would be a good addition to this team.
Yeah. We were a piece like you talk about Jordan Poyer, a piece that was absolutely undervalued coming back last year and ended up showing it on the field for sure, Don.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, we don't have much depth there. I don't know. I'm not huge on the defensive side of the ball in the draft. I don't really know if what corners are coming out that are great for us. I'm gonna have to do my homework on that. But Sal, like you said, the only worry is the price tag behind it. That's kind of the mode the Bills are in this whole offseason, as we are penny pinching hard.
Bargain buys for sure.
Yeah, and Dean's never been more under the gun while doing that. So we're gonna have to see what kind of magic
we need to do Trey White on a 1-year, $2 million deal with an $8 million incentive if we win the Super Bowl. If we win the Super Bowl, and there it is. So we'll take the luxury tax on that. But I do think Trey wants to come back. Real quick note. Speaking of the Braves, I know we always kind of show each other our hands when we're doing stuff. Last year when we did the Shakir adoption event, Trey White was just hanging out with the general public for basically like an hour, hour and a half straight, just like talking about being so excited to be back in Buffalo. So it's exactly like you said. It's very transparent that he's happy about that. It's not just the clips of him interacting with Deion Dawkins' kids. It's a tangible.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Trey played, as you know, for Baltimore in the game the year before that in Buffalo to end the season for Baltimore. He was on Raven during that playoff game, right? After the game, saw Trey walking down the tunnel. And, it's tough, right? You know the guy, but you feel bad for him.
Mental situation.
And I just walked up and hey, man, I started talking. And I go, hey, I also know you're going to be a free agent, right? Come on back, right? And he looked right at me.
Did you bring back Trey?
No, but he said to me, everybody knows I want to be here. I'd love to come back. Like he made it known. He told me in that moment, I want to be back. Like it's just everybody knew Trey loves Buffalo. Yeah. I think he'd love to come back again. Yeah. I just, I'm not speaking for him, obviously, but just what I know about him, what he's told me, I think that there would be a willingness on his part. The question is too, like if the Bills, you could also leverage that, right? Like, well, if you really want to come back, you can only do it for this much. We're not going to go above and beyond.
Right.
Who's paying him though, too, around the league? I mean, I don't know what else he would have.
Again, that could be another, post June 1 guy. There's another August candidate for sure.
If you sign a guy after post June 1, it does not count against your comp pick formula.
Okay, so see, there we go. You got to bring the math into it. And that's why we were in the insider. Sal Capaccio. We are inside of the Q Lounge here at Herbal IQ. Speaking of hosting, folks, I absolutely need you. I implore you to join us for Herbal IQ's second annual Easter egg bud hunt, Thursday, April 2nd at 5:30 p.m. Join us, Don, for the chance to win product, swag, special deals, lighters, stickers, and more from all of the favorite brands here at Herbal IQ. The hunt starts at 6 p.m. sharp, so don't be late. I think I actually showed up at like 5:57 p.m. and like people were in their like ready position last year. It was intense. It was quite the scene.
Well, if it's anything like the trivia night, I got some great luck. If you remember, I had the sticker under my seat.
Oh, you did.
Walked away with a free ounce of flowers. So I'm not even. I still have some of that. It's too much for me. Almost. I need some help with that.
They've been an amazing partner for years. But again, Herbal IQ here with the lounge. I've seen about 5 events here so far, and not one person has not left with a smile on their face. And I say that on the Bills. If you wanted me to say anything on anything, I say that on the Bills. So,
it really is a great space back here in their lounge.
Shout out to Abby. We got Cody. We got the whole team here making sure they dominate here at Transit Road. So as we lock in here on a second half of our show, Sal, it's opening day in the MLB. So Yankees with a big win. It's just hard, you get excited because baseball's back after so long, but it's also a 1162 game schedule. It's
also 30 degrees outside.
It is.
I mean, like the Bison's great. I mean, awesome. Go to a Bison's game, sunny, sunshine. How about that promotion?
The Bisons? Yes, give it to them. Give it to them.
If it's not 50 degrees and you come to the game and it doesn't have 50 degrees, you get a ticket for another game. Good job by them.
That
people
is
win,
so
they get another ticket.
Yep.
It's great.
Got people to play a bet
50-degree guarantee.
Going to the game.
Yeah, it's tough weather to watch baseball in. And
it is. It's a little better, especially when it's lower stakes. If you're in the postseason, you can tough it out a little bit more because the intensity. I think that gets into your blood, especially as a sports fan. But when it's in the late March, early April.
I remember the one. Opening day was a big to do.
Yeah,
it's a big to do. Opening day, right? And I mean, we're going back years ago now, getting older, and it has been like this a little bit more lately, where they start internationally. Then somewhere else and late at night or whatever, overnight. I don't know what did they do, and didn't they start in Japan maybe?
They did.
Years ago?
Yeah,
they started going international.
And that was during spring training too. And then they came back for a week or two.
Yeah, that started a couple years ago, right? I want to say like a year or two after COVID. Yeah, where they did like a week early. I mean, and now it's MLB opening night on Netflix, and people are mad that like Netflix and no broadcast. Where'd you land on that? You looked, where'd you fall on that?
So I turned the game. So actually, I watched it in between Sabres periods.
Perfect.
Right? I mean, like Sabres first period's over. Let me turn on. And I want to see the Yanks.
Yeah.
I watched the beginning of the game, and then I would turn on. I'd keep it. Like, I didn't see the Yankees 5 runs. I looked like, oh, my God, the Yankees are up 5-0.
Yeah.
So a couple things happen. I see the Yankees are up 5-0. I'm like, oh, this is great. So as soon as the Sabres period's over, I'm going to turn it on. So I turn it on, and I'm watching for about a minute, and I go, why does the scoreboard on TV say 0-0? It says here 5-0. Then I realized when you go back to Netflix, it starts where you left off.
Yeah.
It didn't start live.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I didn't know this.
Yeah, like
I'm watching. I'm like, why is it not 5-0?
Live, yeah.
Also,
right.
That happens too. Even if you're still watching with YouTube TV, commercial happen. I'll go in the other room. Sometimes it lags behind, And then same, I'll realize I have to like jump up. I'm like 3 minutes behind or something.
And then you hit fast forward and you got to go through 50 ads because you missed the ads that they were playing a little bit earlier, right?
The tinfoil hat in the sports game of this, some people with the conspiracy theories are saying that the ESPN NHL broadcast, they're adding on an extra like 20 seconds of commercials to the actual broadcast. And people aren't noticing because it's like so indiscriminate, but people are starting to get the goal alerts from like tweets and ads before it shows up on the ESPN screen because they're putting in those ads. I'm not saying it's
that happened to me the other night.
I'm saying everyone's doing it.
My buddy texted me when the Sabres scored the tying goal against the Bruins, and I had no idea yet. But I was watching on regular TV.
Yes.
So the delay. Anyway, the second thing happened. So about the broadcast.
Yes.
So then I turn it on. I'm watching. Rafael Devers is up, and I swear to you, he looked superimposed on my television.
Yeah.
And the umpire, and it's like. It was almost like they were on a green screen.
Yes.
Like I see the body and they move and it's like a halo. And I'm like, this does not look right. This does not look like a baseball game to me. This looks like I'm watching something made up where they're just putting bodies. And you know how they have the boards and like in hockey, you can change the boards on TV.
Yeah.
If you go to the game, it looks different than on TV where they can put same thing in baseball behind the catcher. They have the ads, but the ads, because they're on TV, like it makes the body of the person blend in with it. I'm like, what am I watching here? I didn't like it.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. They're like where they kind of have the players focused on too much, where the background and the grass, it's like almost like you said, they're like glowing and everything.
Yeah, it was like a little
kind
glow.
of blurry. It's like it's like a Wes Anderson movie or something.
Yes.
Not what you want for a sports broadcast.
Didn't they come back late a couple times?
Not ideal. Came back a couple times.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the shticks, especially during a baseball game. I do think you need stuff to keep it fresh throughout a 9-inning game. It's going 2.5 hours for sure. But yeah, it was a tough broadcast. A lot of people did not like it.
But you know what? Hey, so Yankees today, are they playing today? Right now. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's right on my phone.
Started.
Right on my phone. I'll show you. I got Bernie and I got the Yankees score right there. 0-0. All right. There's Bernie. Speaking of
Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah. Speaking of
our friends at
Buddies
Second.
We got Bernie.
Had a great time with them at TSE this past weekend as well. That was awesome time. Just like we are having here. So very high IQ play to check in with Buddies Second Chance Rescue if you're looking to adopt a dog. Let's talk about some high IQ plays here at Herbal IQ 6300 Transit Road, your spot for all your cannabis needs. Sal, we'll give you a prompt and you tell me whether that's a high IQ play, smart, or if that's a low IQ play, not ideal. Maybe you don't agree with necessarily. And some of these are going to stretch your heartstrings a little bit more. Okay, so first one I gave you the prompt on sending Zach Metza down for the Sabres. One that grabbed Sabres Twitter in a weird way.
I mean, I just was confused. Why? What are you doing? And then I try. So this is what I do with the Bills too, right? This is why I get accused of being a homer, mouthpiece, you know, all the things. And I always tell people, my job is to try to explain to you what the team is thinking so you can formulate opinion and say, oh, that makes sense or doesn't make sense, which is fine. Why would you bring Damar Hamlin back? Let me tell you why. I'm not telling you it's a great move or it's not. Who cares what I think? I'm just some windbag that talks on the radio. My opinion doesn't matter. What matters should be what you understand of what they're doing. So Zach Metza, my first thought is, why would they do this? Lindy just talked about how great his numbers are. They know how well he's playing. It's not like they don't see it, right?
Yeah.
They know it. So why would it happen? My first thought is Austin missed practice, and then that means maybe they have to bring Greenway into the lineup or somebody. And then if you have too many guys, you got to send somebody down. The only guy you can do that with maybe is Metza, because other guys have to go through waivers. But I asked Paul Hamilton, and he said, actually, this time of year, you can have like 60 guys on your roster. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense then.
Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Right. Yes.
Style.
Yeah.
Yes. The long-term IR.
Yeah.
So what I guess the reasoning is that they just, Timmins is back.
They want to get guys minutes.
And Metza, because Jarmo Kekalainen loves bigger defensemen and thinks you got to be able to play bigger defensemen and bigger people at this time of year. It's getting a grind. Metza's not the biggest. He's been steady. Let's give him time to play. It's kind of like Devin Levi. He's not going to play up here. Let him play down there. My thought is, though, he should be playing up here. Put him in the lineup over Stanley.
Someone asked me how tall Zach or how tall Metza was the other day, and I said 6'4".
No,
he's like 5'9".
Yeah,
I'm like it just feels like it plays like he's 6'4". A guy plays like he's huge.
He's so calm. He's so calm. He makes the right
sure.
play. Yeah. Okay, so I don't like it. Like, I
Yes.
don't like that
Low
he's
IQ,
not on
low
the team,
IQ,
right?
yeah.
So low IQ play, but I try to understand what the organization is thinking, and I think he'll be back up here eventually, obviously.
The take I saw from someone that I respected well was exactly Timmons is back. They want to get him in. They want to get Kesselring in a better spot because he has not been good.
Agreed.
And Shen as well. And Stanley, the only good pairing was with Metza. So I think they're trying to get him more comfortable with the team. The take this one guy said is he says Metza will be back in the lineup game 1 of the playoffs. And he says that Lindy wants to get these guys ice time, but he doesn't want to scratch Metza. And he's the only guy that he can send down, right? So he can keep playing. So then the thought is you get into the playoffs, you have 8 defensemen that all have had minutes, and you're not getting 05-06 again.
One thing that's
he was so unhinged. It was an amazing take.
What?
Metza is the 5th best defenseman on the roster, given his playing time increase. Front office knows that. Keep his legs fresh in Rochester. Give Timmons and Kessering meaningful reps for depth. Come mid-April, you have 7-8 to solid man rotations, so we don't give Jeff Gilson again. With all respect to Jeff Gilson, and this is the best point. This is my favorite most sentence point. That was only 5 playoff appearances ago. It's like
that's right.
The way we live as a sports culture
it's a sound
is
argument.
But who was the coach? Lindy.
Yes,
I mean,
agreed.
Lindy knows that. Lindy knows that, and we all know what happened. I think that point is 100% right because every move they've made since the trade deadline has had that in mind. I mean, Yarmo has said you have to have more defensive depth. You have to have. I don't think Yarmo's thinking about the Sabres in 06.
No.
But I do think Yarmo's thinking about the big picture of playing playoff hockey because he's been down that road.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he's thinking of Lightning potentially second round and them taking out 2 year defensemen in game 1. But
I don't like that Metza's not playing. Like he helps them win.
Did you know that since the Beer Sabres been released, he has 0 goals against on the ice?
Metza and the Beer Saber.
Oh,
There's be a statue out in front of the arena.
Yeah,
I've been told that
the
the
best plus minus is since then.
The 2 things that people at the Bills and Sabres get asked the most about these days are
wide receiver and the Beer Saber.
The Beer Saber and the size of the bison outside the
stadium. Okay, so one bell has been answered.
Yes.
And now we need number 2. I mean,
that's right.
If they came out for the playoff game 1 with everyone with Beer Sabers, that would be incredible. It would be
and the bison are huge. 27. I was down there the other day. 27 feet. 24 feet and 12 feet for the calf.
Intimidating. The calf. Even the calf is a beast.
And the platform is going to be tilted, so it feels like they're charging at you when you're like taking a picture.
I feel like the calf was 12 feet on purpose because that's about how tall the Tom Brady statue
I mean, give me that thing right here. What is it? What is this?
Can we move this?
Can we move this bison and put it inside? What is it? Does this bison have a name?
This is going to be like, this is going to be the
bison
coming at Salad game day.
If you're look at exactly. That's what it's going to feel like. I know. And like you take a picture, it's going to be way up here.
This is going to be fans running out the calf when we win the AFC Championship in the first year at Highmark.
Oh my
God. They're carrying it out.
I mean, if we could light this thing up, it would look like what it's going to look like because they can light it up. It's cool. I learned a lot about it. It was really cool.
Yes, I think they hit a
Does
good
that
one.
thing have a name? Billy. It is Billy. I mean, what isn't Billy when it's a Buffalo or Bison around here anymore?
It will be absolute cinema at the new Highmark Stadium. We're having a great time. Just like it will be absolute cinema at our Herbal IQ 420 party on Saturday, April 18th.
Oh.
Getting the holiday started a little bit early there. 5 to 8 p.m. April 18th. Come celebrate cannabis and community at Buffalo's best dispensary inside the Q Lounge. Sal here, April 18th. Make sure you put it on your calendars.
Thought you were going to say Saturday, April 4th. Next Saturday, my birthday.
4-4. William Attar Day is your birthday. Congratulations.
4-4. I was destined to go to Syracuse because 44 is the big number there.
That is Ernie
Jim
Davis.
Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, Pearl Washington, John Wallace, right? 44. So, yeah, next Saturday is my birthday, 4-4. I'll be back from Phoenix, and my brother's coming to town. He lives in Oregon, so he's going to be hanging out. Got some dinner plans with Mom and my bro, so that'd be cool.
Okay, high IQ play. Speaking of Syracuse, ending up with Jerry McNamara.
Well, low IQ play that Syracuse could not land the coach they wanted originally, Brian Hodgson, and even Josh Schertz of St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, I've said I wanted them to go outside the family. I mean, after Jim Boeheim for so long, and then Adrian Autry, like, let's go outside the family. Didn't have to be. I never liked that Mike Hopkins was the coach in waiting. Don't do that.
Yeah, that was tough.
Like, to me, you're Syracuse. You can go get a coach and be really good. And any coach is going to want this job. But guess what? The program has faltered. And now apparently every coach doesn't want the job anymore. it's not about how much you can pay the coach anymore. It's how much you can pay the coach to pay the players. How much money does he have? It's about the resources.
It's about their eventual winning. Yeah.
And listen, Brian Hodgson, friend of mine, I wish him the best of luck, but I'm upset that he's not at Syracuse, not at him. But I get it. Providence is a one-sport school. Yes, they have hockey. I get it. All their NIL is going to go towards basketball.
Yeah.
Whereas Syracuse, they want to be good in football.
Yeah.
They got to pay football players. They got to pay basketball players. So it's not as easy. Okay, but high IQ, if you get past those guys, you could do a lot worse than Jerry McNamara. Jerry McNamara, if I had Thad Brown on the radio today, my buddy from Rochester, WROC TV. Thad made, I think, the best point about it. If you win with Jerry McNamara, it's better than winning with anybody else you could hire because he's Jerry McNamara.
True.
And he's not looking to go to the next job if he wins, right? He's going to stay at Syracuse for as long as possible. Now, doesn't guarantee you're going to win. He did a good job at Siena, only 2 years experience. But if you're going to talk about hiring out inexperience, I mean, Brian Hodgson only had 3 years experience as a head coach, right?
Yeah.
So low IQ, mad that they had to get in this position. But now that they're here, I love Jerry McNamara, and I'm absolutely going to support him. And you could do a lot worse than Jerry McNamara.
I think it's more evident than ever, too. And this is what we knew about Hodgson when he was leaving Buffalo when he didn't get the UB job, is that a college head coach is more about the ability to recruit than the ability to do X's and O's in the middle of the game. That's what you have a staff for. That's what you have coordinators for, things like that.
We know who the most important person in a program now is the GM, really.
Yeah.
These GMs that everybody's hiring, right? Turner Battle is the GM at UB.
Yeah.
Woj is the GM at St. Bonaventure. And now look what's happening. Mark Schmidt, obviously no longer at St. Bonaventure. There's a lot of reports about friction, and that's what happens.
That was a little crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
I'll ask a
right?
blanket question on that one. Do you think there are high IQ plays being made at St. Bonaventure or low IQ plays being made at St. Bonaventure as far as basketball right now?
I think low IQ, not having Mark Schmidt, and I know he retired.
Yeah, but
it feels to me like that was more of something that was. Not necessarily his choice from the beginning, but then, hey, once you got to a certain point, it's like, you know what? I've had a good career. I'm going to step away. That said, I believe Mike McDonald will be the next head coach.
Yeah.
And Damon went to the Elite Eight. He's tight with Woj. I think they might have been roommates, actually, when they were there back in the day. Yeah.
Roommates is another type of bond, Don.
Yeah. And if, like, I will absolutely, like, support Mike McDonald. He's a good friend of mine. He's a really, really
We've run a couple of
coaches
versus cancer events with him.
He's great. Yeah. And, his son is the GM of the Brooklyn Nets G League team.
Okay,
that's
Nets. Experience. That's
right?
experience. Legit.
His other son was just a GA at the University of Cincinnati. They fired their staff, so he's kind of in limbo. And Mike's been around college basketball a long time. When Mike was the head coach of Canisius, it didn't go well. He got fired. He was a young coach. I think he learned a lot, right?
Yeah.
Then he goes to Madai. He goes to Damon. So look, I'm going to say the same thing I said about Syracuse. Low IQ, how it all kind of played out for me.
Yes.
But high IQ, if you wind up getting that guy and saying, okay, now that you're here, where do you go from here?
Agreed. It's sometimes the journey can be low IQ, but your destination can be high IQ.
That's right.
For sure.
That's right. And I wish Mark Schmidt the best, by the way. I told him, I saw him at the NCAA tournament. I said, dude, you're too young to retire. You're not going to stay retired. You're going to coach basketball again someday.
Okay. Well, hey, speaking of too young, we had some players looking a little too old out on the field against the flag football team. You see this Team USA versus
I didn't watch
Fanatics?
It. No, okay. But I saw and I read people say, like, I don't think that the NFL guys knew what they were in for.
They didn't. They didn't know like the tactics were going to be involved. They thought they could show up and it was going to be pure skill for sure.
Not like that.
Do you think it would be high IQ for someone to say that Team USA flag football would beat the NFL players regardless, even if they planned for a month?
No.
Okay, so you think the NFL?
I think if NFL players got together, took it seriously, and practiced for a month, I think they would win.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then last one, I'm going to put your feet to the fire with this one. And Don, I want this from you. High IQ to think that Keon Coleman can be a 700 to 800 yard guy for the Buffalo football Bills next year. So I put this at about 45 yards per game, around where Khalil Shakir had his stat line last year. I just feel like either A, they're doing the best PR job around Keon Coleman they can to eventually trade him, and that would be the business of it all, or B, that Joe Brady really does believe in him, because I see the game plan, I see the eventual output. It was Denver. They're throwing to him right off the line to get us within a touchdown. They're involving him. I don't think it was out of necessity. I think when they find him in the right spot, they can use him. Obviously, it's very much a operation, Sal, as you know, so when you have players not attending meetings on time, things like that, that throws a wrench in everything. But I think they seem to have high hopes for Keon, and I think that would be a high IQ take.
If you gave me the number
750, let's say.
I'm going to go under that.
Okay.
Right now. Now, the way you phrase it, can it happen? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it can happen. But, I mean, I don't know where Keon Coleman is suddenly going to be an 800-yard receiver on this team when you brought in DJ Moore, you have Khalil Shakir, and the fact is he hasn't demonstrated that he can do enough to stay on the field.
True.
I still put it right now. Now, every day that goes by, I'm a little bit more on he'll be on the team.
Yeah.
I still think there's a very good, maybe strong, I don't know, whatever possibility that he's not on the team. He gets traded. Because I agree with you, but they're not going to get the value for him, which leans you to he'll be here. And that's why they're doing the PR. And hey, best thing ever happened. I'm his head coach. But I mean, I was at the combine, and Brandon Beane even said, like, he's got to have the same offseason, but the maturity issues can't catch up with him like they did last year.
Yeah, I mean, the off the field issues not showing up and stuff. I mean, yes, he's young, but at the same time, you know, people are young all over. You're a professional.
Yeah.
You're still in your 20s. You went through college. You've been going to team meetings for a long time, and you're getting paid way more now than college. I don't buy that excuse when people say he's young, he's going to grow up. I think at a certain point, you know, you kind of are who you are. I think the whole bizarre gap between the press conference with Terry and Bean, where they're pretty much pointing fingers at everyone else for picking this guy, kind of throwing him under the bus, like after firing a coach. And then Joe Brady comes back and says, I love him. For me, that was kind of coach speak. You're not going to come in as a new coach, even if you have been in the building as the offensive coordinator, and not speak highly about your players. You know, you want to keep everything good, vibes high, locker room good, people excited that you're in there. I think if he didn't say something nice about Keon, it would have been worse. Like you said, too, I think there's a little bit of stock pumping right there.
For sure.
Where I really see him kind of being trade fodder early on in this year.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the other thing is, even if he's on the team.
So before you go into this one, when's the date where it switches for you, where he's going to be on the team?
After the draft, if he hasn't been traded after the draft, I'm more likely, okay, he's on the team. I don't think it's immediate set though, because then I'll see what did they do in the draft. If they don't draft anybody and they don't trade him and he's there, it's more likely. But I could see, is Brandon Beane going to try and get back in the second round? Could you use Keon Coleman as some sort of with other picks to move around the board or things like that? This is on Keon. Even if he comes back, my question is, where does he fit?
Yeah.
The other part of this that I keep saying that I don't think people really understand as much, when you're down there and you're always like kind of part of seeing how this all plays out. I don't think the organization has any appetite to be answering questions of why Keon Coleman is still their fifth receiver.
Yeah.
Why he's a healthy scratch. Yeah. Like, that's just a distraction they don't need to deal with.
Yeah.
If he's your fifth receiver and he's a healthy scratch, that benefits nobody because we're still asking Brandon Beane, how did this happen? And I don't think he wants to deal with that. So I think it's got to be either he's got to be your number 3 guy at worst, or he's got to be off the team. I almost think it's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, you know, kind of you keep it simple. If the names you mentioned that we do have, and we brought in DJ Moore and stuff in a 3-4 wide receiver set, and again we have 2 pass catching tight ends, and even throw Jackson Hall in there. He's maybe good for one a game sometimes as kind of a decoy. Are you losing a lot with him on the bench? I'm not convinced you're losing anything really. There
were a couple big games last year without him for sure. So, but now again, they were against the Buccaneers, they were against the Bengals. You know, some notoriously worse defenses.
So I think the draft is going to speak volumes in what we do there for where he's.
So if we take one wide receiver, you think he's out?
It would depend on where.
Okay.
You take one in the 7th round. I don't think that matters. Caden Prather.
Okay.
In the 7th round.
I'm going to keep putting you your. So what
that's
about
like
third? What about third?
I think third round, even 4th round.
Yeah.
Well, that guy's on the team.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, you're not getting
100% on the team. 100% on the team.
And by the way, so is Josh Palmer.
Yeah.
Again, where does this leave Keon Coleman?
Are we maybe sleeping on the Josh Palmer of it all still? I cannot.
Yeah, I think they really like Palmer.
I cannot forget that after the first training camp practice last year, Josh Allen took all the wide receivers to aside to work with Joe Brady, who then at the time was obviously the offensive coordinator, And Josh Palmer was the guy they both talked to the most, for sure.
I really believe that they believe the injuries were a big part
Yeah.
of what happened last year.
Yeah.
Same thing with our guy Terrell Bernard.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Terrell.
That makes a lot of sense.
They believe that the injuries were a big part of why things didn't go right for either Palmer or Bernard last year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, hopefully everything goes right this year, and we're celebrating out the wazoo, parade and more. Hopefully we could be getting that with the hockey team downtown. But before we talk about the Sabres, let's just a quick reminder, folks. We have 30% off all product here at Herbal IQ, 6300 Transit Road. We're in the Q Lounge. If you want to book this venue, which is beautiful for any of your parties or events, go to herbaliq.org. We got the annual Easter egg bud hunt April 2nd and the 420 party April 18th. So a ton of stuff going on at Herbal IQ. That's the thing. I think when these dispensaries started, Sal, it was like you kind of went in incognito and you're kind of nervous to hang out. Herbal IQ has completely changed the game in that regard. It's a place where you can come out, hang out, community, building out and having a great time while you get your cannabis and some of the best products and deals out there.
For sure. And you've partnered with them. I've partnered with them on my podcast, Sal's House, and really it's been a great relationship. We appreciate it. And it's a great space. And, you know, they're a great spot, I think, in this new space that we're all living in.
Yes.
And I see different places popping up all the time. They've been constant, they've been consistent, and they're getting better and better.
For sure. And only going to be more stuff on the way. Q Coffee, Q Lounge, and much more. Speaking of more on the way, boys, with no lack of words here, the Sabres are on the warpath. You're going to the game tonight against Detroit. When you factor in the point against, the points even in the overtime losses in the recent games, it feels like they've been getting points for basically 13 out of 14 games out of the Olympic break here. They're playing great hockey, Sal. What are you seeing going into tonight's match against Detroit? How excited are you to be in that arena?
Super excited tonight. You just need to bounce back. They did not play well against the Bruins.
Agreed.
Tonight is a night where I need them to bounce back and show me when you are off your game, you can come back and show that that wasn't you. I'm a little bit worried that two losses in a row with points, right? I get it. Yep. Anaheim came back from the West Coast trip though, but they didn't have their A game in either game. I need tonight to be much more like an A game. I need to see that tonight to make me more confident. It's a team that's fighting for a playoff spot, the Detroit Red Wings. I think they're on the front end of a back-to-back.
They're kind of scuffling, right?
Yeah.
Right? Aren't they like 500 since Jan 1 or something?
I think they're under their last 10. They've only won like 3 games, I think. They're like 3 points out of a playoff spot. They have games in hand, so they need to win. You need to bury this team and show, okay, you're the better team. But even for your own sake, Sabres are in a mix for the top seed.
Right now,
go get it.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Like right now, you need to capitalize on the fact that Tampa Bay only got a 1-point game against Seattle last night and go out and get 2. You got to keep pace there in the division. So
that's right.
They're at a point where if you get a couple more of those situations where you gain points at Tampa Bay, you'll be close enough to clinch not only a playoff spot, but the division. That would be remarkable.
That's great. And
how exciting, though. We were talking about the Pulse movie, Matt. Go ahead real quick.
Quick turnaround. Tonight, 7, tomorrow, 5:30. So
tough. 2 games within 24. When they're 2 games with puck drop within 24 hours, that's crazy. So all the more reason to start this game strong and hopefully maybe put it away, get some depth guys, some minutes. Has anything stuck out to you on the Sabres side of things? I know we're all watching more than ever. I know you're getting more fan feedback than ever.
To me, what stuck out a lot is the guys. Like, there's some guys I'm like, yeah, he's a good player. Tuck's a good player. Zucker's a good player. The game, them elevating their game because of what's been around them now and how those guys have really shows you what they bring to the table. Like when you have guys like that in your team, but the rest of the group isn't lifting up, you know what I mean? And the boat's not rising. But now you're seeing Tuck. I know he didn't have a great game the other day, but he has been so good. Yeah. Zucker's been so good. And I think it's because they're finally seeing some talent around them to raise that level to show, hey, this is what happens when you have people around us that can help us play. And everybody, obviously, there's Benson. We can go through all the names, but those 2 guys have really stood out to me.
I always try to relate it back, Don. Is it possible that the Zucker is like a Jochen Hesch plus? With all due respect to Jochen Hesch, he even had the C for a little bit there.
I mean, I think he's got a better shot than Hesch.
I think a snapper for sure.
He
kind of lefty who's kind of a strong offensive asset.
Yeah, he kind of finds holes in the defense a lot. Like honestly, kind of like Vanek would. But has a bit more speed, bit more physical and grit than a Vanek. He's kind of a combination of those guys. And Sal, you were talking, a lot of these bigger names that have been stepping up for us. I've talked about this before. I think one of those reasons is Lindy's got this team for the first time, and I can remember back to being able to get quality shifts from third and fourth liners. So you're
Yeah,
now
that's right.
able to put
and that's what opponents are saying about them.
Yeah.
Every time an opponent is asked, they say that, which is like they're just come at you. Like they just have a bunch of guys that just keep coming at you.
Exactly. I remember when we played the Oilers in our house, we had our fourth line out there against McDavid, and they scored. And I think it was Osland or Malenstein, one of them. But Malenstein, that's like he's a third, fourth liner that is just like put so much pressure on him. And again, like we're not matching lines. We can see their second line out against their fourth, and we're not worried. And so then we can get those mismatches later with Tuck and Zucker and everything. Get an icing, get a shift change where we have our first line out against their third or fourth that can't really hang. But
obviously the goaltending's been just way above what we've expected this year.
Outstanding really for sure. So now we're talking. There is going to be a little politics of what exactly we do in the playoffs. It's all easy does it to go, committee in the regular season. Do you go committee?
I think you do. I think you just keep doing what you've been doing.
I agree. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I know, and especially because I think these two guys are okay with it. Like if there's a dynamic in the room, then we haven't heard anything about this of one guy they two alphas and fighting, right? Like I don't think so. I think both guys support each other. They understand the deal, and they're there for the right reasons. So I think that creates an ability to keep doing what you're doing.
There's such a positivity around the Sabres right now. I would dare even say that, like, if one of them pitched a shutout, I don't think it would cause friction to run them out the next game in a playoff game, right? Series, because it's like the other person would just be like, "You're hot as hell. Like, get back out there for sure."
Yeah. Especially if where they were standing on their head. It's not a game where we're just dominating, but where the goalie really contributes. So I was actually trying to look up, seeing if we had we know who was in net tonight, because I didn't see.
It'll be out.
Okay, I didn't
because
see
UPL played last game. It's a true rotation.
They tend to rotate for sure. Any high IQ picks if you're going to pick first goal besides Tage Thompson? He's kind of the Josh Allen of
pick a first goal
Sabres
tonight.
Picks.
Pick a first goal tonight.
We need a high IQ pick, like picking the products here at Herbal IQ.
I'll go to my guy Zucker. I was just talking about. I think Jason Zucker. I mean, I think he's a bit of a heater right now. Had a couple goals the other night. By the way, tonight, I mean, could it be Patrick Kane's last game in Buffalo?
Oh wow, I didn't even put that on my radar.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I don't know. I haven't really heard what his plans were. If he had, we've seen Ovechkin and a lot of hockey players can go well into their 40s. I don't really know.
His contract is up with the Red Wings.
Yeah,
but he might want to still play. I'm not saying he doesn't. I think
if it was up to him, he's going to keep playing, and he's not the 08 Blackhawks or whatever in that form, but he's still great. They're still sending him up on the power play, and he's still got a great shot, great hands. I think we're going to see him again.
Imagine if you had a gambling ticket from 2012 for Patrick Kane to play for a Lindy Ruff coach Sabres team.
So could happen next year. I'm thinking about that. I know.
But speaking of a run, we were just fantasizing. As a lot of fans have done it in recent years with the Bills. You'll be like, "Oh man, it would be so sweet to beat Joe Burrow, to beat Lamar Jackson, and then to beat Patrick Mahomes, and then win the Super Bowl or whatever." We were talking about what about a run against the Ottawa Senators? Then round 2, you take out the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then round 3, you face off against the Carolina Hurricanes, and then Stanley Cup, Dallas Stars.
For me, I would change one thing.
What would you do?
I don't care about Ottawa. Boston is my nemesis from
Boston is nemesis. That's decades.
I'm Sabres, Bruins, Adams division.
Even Miro Shatan to essentially win a series in that one crazy overtime game.
I was telling someone and I was a kid, in high school for 05, so I get the Ottawa hate. But I was telling someone, I'm like, I really hate Philly, and they're like, I don't get it. I'm like, no, this is old school. And even in the late '90s, early 2000s, like we would see them every playoff series with Lindros and stuff.
Legion of Doom.
It's like when particles touch like an eventual superhero, like as a baby, like they're imprinted on them. Like that's the sports thing you feel when you remember like 7 years old. Like you're like,
I see the Bruins crest and I get agitated.
I mean, like
I'm thinking. Before your time, I'm thinking Bruce Shoebottom against Kevin McGuire and fighting at the odd, and Terry O'Reilly literally trying to go over the glass because fans were throwing stuff and they shouldn't be doing that. And Bruins sticks with their sticks. I mean, it was crazy, dude. Go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's unbelievable.
That's so as clearly, a Yankees fan, and we're all Yankees fans too. Yankees fan, Bills too, obviously. It's been a tough decade as
Tough
a Boston
decade.
hater.
Yes.
Tough 2 decades.
Hey, I'm a Lakers guy too, so Celtics.
There you go. Yeah.
you know.
So yeah, it's been tough. But can I give you my first goal real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cousins. Think he gets hot again.
Oh no! First goal, Dylan Cousins.
Dylan Cousins plays for Ottawa. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, wait,
I'm
what?
sorry, Quinn. I meant Quinn. Sorry.
I'm like, wait a
I mean,
minute.
Did
Cousins.
Don just short circuit? He's
I
so
short
lucky we were talking Senators.
Well,
Senators on the mind.
Because I was going to call him quiet boy Quinn because he's just
Yeah.
got that quiet
Yeah,
personality.
he is a quiet
No,
guy.
we were talking
Jack
Senators.
Quinn. I got you.
Jack Quinn. Sorry.
Jack Quinn.
40
Sorry,
Thieves is going to
thanks.
be rocking as Jack Quinn scores tonight. Folks, if you're looking to make sure your weekend is rocking, come get the best products at Herbal IQ. All the best brands, all the best products, 30% off the whole store. We are ready to have a heck of a 100% weekend. Huge shout out to Sal for joining us on an Herbal IQ happy hour. You're going to the game with young Max.
I'm leaving here now to go pick up Max. We're going to the game tonight. Maybe I'll see you down there if you're watching right now.
Yep, come say what up there. Say, Dreamboat, are you going?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
boys
Maybe
will
I'll
both
see
be
you
there.
there too.
Yeah.
I want you guys to go both come back on you with the W for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
need it.
remember, it's always a W when you come to Herbal IQ. Huge shout out to everyone stopping by Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good weekend now.